We need a workforce for today and the future. My two guests today don't just talk about it, they live it. Cindy Barlow is the Director of Industry Relations for WyoTech that has over 50 years of training and developing entry-level technicians. Andrew Brown, an advocate of the skilled trades, host of the podcast The Lost Art of the Skilled Trades, and co-founder of the Skilled Trades Advisory Council. Andrew and Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
It is great to have you both here. Cindy, if you could take a couple of minutes, just introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so my name is Cindy Barlow. I have worked with WyoTech for the last 6.5 years. I came on right after Jim Mathis, our new owner, took over. My main focus is to be able to bring the best of the best to our campus and to ensure that our students have a great opportunity to be able to work within industry once they graduate from WyoTech. I live in the great, wonderful, wild world of Wyoming and love it here. It's one of those things where people think Wyoming is a deterrence, and I can tell you that we have students from all 50 states. So yes, excited to be here today and talking to you guys about the trades, WyoTech, and different ways that we can bring more students into the trades.
Excellent. Andrew, tell everybody who you are.
Andrew Brown, CEO and co-founder of Toolfetch. We built a portal for the trades to get them what they want, when they want, and where they want, so they don't have to spend the resources chasing it. I'm also a co-founding member of the Skilled Trades Advisory Council, and our mission is to recruit, retain, and advocate for the skilled trades. And it's all about getting the next generation into the trades. I live it, I breathe it, I love the passion behind it, and I do it every single day just to get that one person who's going to change the perception of the trades, and or a parent or a child, and wants to work with their hands. So I'm super happy to be here and talking about the skilled trades.
Excellent. Really happy to have both of you here. Our show is broken into 3 segments, and this week, those segments are: segment 1 is attracting young people to the skilled trades. Segment 2, we'll talk about innovative learning techniques in trades education. And segment 3, the advantages of pursuing a career in skilled trades. If everyone's ready, let's get into it. All right. So what are some innovative ways to introduce skilled trades to students as early as middle school? I think that's probably one of the things we're missing, is not getting kids interested in trades early enough in their careers. Cindy?
Well, honestly, it's got to start with the school system. Our school system across America has really not focused on the importance of the trades. Again, they're academia, right? And so because of that, so many of the programs within the trades have really began to die, although they're beginning to rejuvenate somewhat. But because of that, it's really created a gap in the education side. So we have to do more, whether it's industry or tech schools, whatever it is, to be able to support these local schools, support their teachers, CTE teachers across the nation. There's a huge attrition level as well as a retirement level of these teachers. And because of that, we have a teacher shortage to these trades as well. So we need to do more within our local governments, making sure that they understand the importance of the trades, working with industry, helping them to understand the importance of partnering and really doing their part. Let's face it, what might be their trash is going to be that opportunity for a student to work on a transmission or take apart an engine and put it back together. But we really have to do our level best. We have FFA, we have Skills USA, and both of those are fabulous programs. But I really feel like the big ball that has been dropped is our own. And that's us working with the public school systems, going into those classrooms, talking to the students about the viable careers that are in industry and their ability to be able to have a fantastic career without the 4-year degree. And don't get me wrong, those 4-year degrees are very important. But to be able to learn a trade doesn't take that much. You can go through internships, you can work with a school. So my deal is, let's work more within the schools. Let's help to develop those programs. Let's work legislatively so that they understand the importance.
Excellent. Andrew, your thoughts?
Career exploration into the trades is broken. I don't think kids, when they sit down and they go into their guidance counselor and they're good with their hands, they have a technical spark. Will that guidance counselor say, you know what? I could see you as a plumber or as a welder. I don't think that conversation is really happening. Look, it's not every guidance counselor, but a lot of times. And a lot of times there's too many kids as one guidance counselor. And a lot of times the initiative is pushing those kids to a 4-year college degree, which it is for the right person. It's not built for everybody, but for the people that want to work with their hands, it might not be the right fit. Now, there are teachers out there who are taking this in their own hands. And there is a teacher by the name of Edvin Jared. And he's AKA, he is the dope teacher. And he works out of the Mayfair Elementary School. And he teaches kids who are 10, 11, and 12 elements of plumbing, carpentry, electrical. You have to see his videos on LinkedIn. He's constantly posting, and these kids, they're using power tools. They're actually some of them they weld. It's just they're getting these skills. Those are teachers who are taking into their own hands to take these skills and give them to kids. And I'm all about getting it at kids an education at an early age. The earlier, the better. And that's what it's really all about. I talked about guidance counselors. There are organizations out there like Explore the Trades, and you can't see it off-site here, but I have posters from Explore the Trades where they send guidance counselors these posters, and they show why consider a career in the trade, or here is the evolution of how you get into HVAC, and here's the money that you can make. So when a young adult walks into a guidance counselor, these posters are up. So it might be like, oh yeah, I am good with my hands. This is an opportunity. And then it could spark a conversation. So I know this is only an hour-long show, and I can go on, but that's a couple different ways you can get kids interested.
Yeah, and I love that, and I'll tell you, in my little town here, there was a college that closed a few years ago, and the town actually bought the campus, and because they were going to build a high school, they bought this whole campus from this college for much less than it would have cost to build a high school, but it gave them a lot of extra room, and with that, they actually put in a carpentry program. There's a culinary program starting this year, and a couple other trades programs that are now going through this high school in my little town of 11,000 people. So it's really cool to see some of that come back, and that they didn't just change it into college prep stuff. How can we leverage social media and digital platforms to change the perception of the trades among younger generations? And Andrew, obviously, we'll start with you on this one.
I think social media for people in the trades is so powerful to put their skills and what they do in a day in a life out there. And there are so many examples of this, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, obviously LinkedIn, or any other, or YouTube, any other platform. And you're like, wow, I could see a day in a life as a welder or an electrician. I think of a welder. I think of Barbie the welder, who I had on my podcast a couple months ago.
Yep.
And she is a metal sculptor. And I was just watching like a live video of her this morning, and she was sharing knowledge about how to be a sculptor, how to make money as a sculptor. And she's teaching people, and it's free.
Yeah. Yes.
And kids get to see what the possibilities are of these people who have such talent, where before, prior to this, even social media, you didn't have that. You didn't know about that. And now it's out there. It's everywhere. So I'm a big believer of showing a day in the life of actually what you're doing, because kids are absorbing social media, whether we like it or not. Whether I
Hmm.
like my kids on social media or not, there's only so much you can do. But if they come across a video of somebody who's an influencer, who's doing good and showing that they are building things with their hands, they built that bridge, they built that tunnel, and it it sparks something in somebody who likes to work on cars or likes to build things. It's a positive message, and it resonates also with parents as well. That's another
Yeah.
area that you need to focus on, because the,
Hmm.
the individual, the kid might want to work with their hands, but their parents are not sold on it. And maybe these videos on social media will sell that to the parents, and then they'll be more open for their kids to work with their hands. So I'm a big believer on social media and sharing your work.
Yeah, you mentioned Barbie the welder, and she's actually scheduled to come on to the show in a couple of weeks. So we're excited to have
Awesome.
her on. Another guest that we just had was Jennifer Klein, who does a lot of work in carpentry stuff that she picked up after her husband passed away, and is now a great advocate out there. Cindy, what do you think about utilizing digital platforms and social media?
Well, again, I think you already really covered just about everything that you can think of with social media. It's so important to have a mentor. And when you can see them in their own environment, that this is a day in the life. And let's face it, these students want to see what's available. And so, what a quick and easy way to not only have them, see it, but also interact with it, to have some really key players that they can make comments on and see those comments back. And then these key players also, want to help and inspire. Jessie Combs was one of those fabulous people and a good friend. And she was passionate about seeing young women getting into the trades and has done all kinds of things. Now, in her foundation, they're doing makers workshops, and they're all over the internet. And they're showing how much fun and how cool it is, because it's not just sitting behind the blue light. It's out there actively making a difference, moving mountains. And when the kids get to see that, they get excited about the trades. So it's very important that we have this platform and that we learn how to utilize it to the best of our ability, and make sure that the content that's coming out of that is really powerful for the students and that the message is clear. But being able to see it, being able to work with some really remarkable people and watching them on there, it inspires me. So I can't imagine how it, and we need to make sure it gets in front of the kids.
Right.
So that's another thing. But to the most part, I feel like he covered it in very powerful tool, and one that shouldn't be underestimated or overlooked.
Absolutely. And so you both mentioned mentors. What role can mentorship programs play in attracting young people or young talent into the trades?
And I'll take that one.
Sure.
Matter of fact, I'm working with a young girl right now. She's going to come with me to the campus this next week. She's really excited about welding. I'm putting her in front of some really key players in the welding world that are women, that are like Barbie the welder, that is
Yeah.
doing some phenomenal things, and hoping to build that passion for her. She's getting ready to graduate high school and is somewhat undecisive. So, mentorships and being able to take somebody underneath your wing is absolutely imperative. It doesn't just happen with the individual, though, like me. Having mentorships, once you have an entry level technician or carpenter or plumber, actually working within the environment that they have the opportunity to work for, gives
Mhm.
not only the student but also the future employer the chance to get to know them and to work with them and to show them the way. It's really important. I think we can all relate to the fact that we never started a job and knew absolutely everything on the very first day. And I mean, show me the raise of hands, even on this video, that says you guys knew everything that you were doing, or the first podcast that you ever did. None of us did. Even to this day, we're learning.
Yeah.
So mentorships are imperative to be able to make sure the attrition level of people in the trades is really high. And I believe that reason is the fact that, others have learned it. They've had to learn it the hard way. Because
Hmm.
they've learned it the hard way, they think that if you've gone to a tech school or anything else, well, you should know it all. They don't.
Right.
They're entry level. So we have to be able to nurture them into the industry and show them our culture, show them their growth path in the company and the ability to grow. And I believe that the results of that are remarkable. And the attrition level wouldn't be 42% of all of our students that come into the trades leave within 2 years. That's a horrible statistic. But it's very true. And that's saying that working for somebody else is better than working for you. So we've got to change that. Internships are definitely the way to go.
Hmm. Andrew, thoughts on mentors?
Mentorship in the trades is a game changer. If you can connect yourself with somebody who's been in the industry for 20 or 30 years, you can cut so much time and energy of going in a direction that may not be right for you. And even in my own personal experience, I should have asked for help years ago, but I didn't. And some people won't ask for help.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's no shame in that because there are people who have gone down that journey, trust me, who have maybe been successful. If you want to look in the trades, sometimes you want to make the leap to being a business owner or an entrepreneur. That's a whole different skill set.
Hmm.
If you, what's good is that if you are with somebody who has already done that journey, if you're in plumbing, if you're in electrical, if you're in welding, if somebody owns a welding shop, if someone owns an electrical contracting business of some sort or construction business, if that person takes you under their wing, I mean, the amount of time that that shaves off that, you might get back 5 years versus somebody who didn't, who's trying to figure it out themselves. So I'm a big
Hmm.
believer of connecting people who are just coming into the industry with people who are well on their way, who know the industry. And it's really about soaking up that knowledge because you have to be open and honest with yourself that you don't know everything. And I always say
Hmm.
that it's not, it's what you don't know hurts you.
Right.
And I,
Right.
with myself, I work with mentors and in all different aspects. People say they're self-made. I don't think that's true because along the way, somebody has helped you along the way, and you couldn't have gotten to that position without assistance.
Right.
So ask for help. Don't be
Mhm.
ashamed of it, and you'd be very surprised that there are mentors out there or people out there that some will charge for their time, some won't charge for their time. But if you can lean on somebody who really wants to help you, it can supercharge your career and you'll climb
Right.
that ladder of success much quicker.
Yeah, and it's speaking from the automotive side. It's those mentor opportunities are opportunities for our technicians as they start to age, right? To still be extremely useful inside the shop. We don't want to let that knowledge leave, right? So we can repurpose, if you will, their knowledge in from fixing cars to helping the new technicians learn the business. And hopefully we do that early so that we can reduce that attrition number in that first 2 years. So this takes us to segment two, which is innovative learning techniques in trades education. This segment is brought to you by Parts Edge. Your parts department is the backbone of your dealership and is responsible for nearly half of your total profits, according to NADA. Our system works within your DMS for a hybrid approach that combines the precision of automation with the nuanced decision making of parts experts. First question I want to ask is um, a little off the lines, but how are virtual and augmented reality technologies, excuse me, being integrated into trades education? I know I've seen things about BMW has glasses that they're using to help diagnose vehicles and things. Are you guys seeing anything out there?
I can tell you that at the trade school itself, we have not implemented some of that. We have seen a lot of the technology. where literally you can go underneath a truck, take a picture of it, and it can be live in the classroom. So you could actually be working on a truck in the shop, and instead of having, well, not instead of, making it more accessible for the students to be able to see how to fix that vehicle, but not having 20 kids, gathered around you. You could see it up on a screen. So that's really incredible if you think about that kind of just safety and that quick intuitiveness to be able to go and apply it back into the shop. Um, I will say, I think that technology is great, but there's nothing like that hands on training that can replace that, in our opinion, as a whole. But the overall, technology that's out there is phenomenal. Even through the diagnostic side on the automotive. And Dave, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, automation is out there. Creative ways to be able to teach students is to be able to think outside of the box and how you haven't taught before. So it's not all just about the technology, it's also about changing our teaching style and maybe allowing those kids to be able to come in and say, gosh, can I take the lead on this today in the classroom?
Mm.
Allowing them to have more opportunities is what it's all about. Technology, yes, it's there. Nothing replaces hands-on training.
Andrew?
I was at the Skills USA Championships down in Atlanta this summer, and for people who don't know Skills USA and the championships, they take 6,000 kids and they compete against each other in all different trades. And they had VR there, and I put on the goggles. It was by a company called Transfer, and all of a sudden I was a lineman, and I'm climbing a 50-foot tower, and I'm climbing and I'm climbing and I'm climbing and I'm climbing, and all of a sudden now I'm on top of the tower, and my goal was to put the power back on in this small town. So the pressure was on, and I think there was a hospital there, and I felt like I was up there, and I felt like I was actually grabbing the tool and I was fixing the transformer, and all of a sudden I put the power back on, and it was like this overall excitement. So I got this feeling of like, hey, you know what? If that's the feeling you get in a virtual world, what is it like in the real world when there's a hurricane, a storm of some sort, and you actually or fix the power lines and you get the power back up? So it got me thinking about, if I was a younger individual experiencing this, I might be like, wow, I really can do this stuff, but I'm trying it in a virtual world. So I think VR is important. It will never replace actually working or
Right.
welding. Like I was in a factory and the belt broke, and I had to fix uh, the belt, and I put on the helmet and I took the welding torch and I was welding and I fixed it, and then the belt went back on. Again, it was a good experience, but it will never fully replace hands-on experience. But when in schools, especially elementary school, middle school, there are programs out there that will bring in plumbers, electricians, welders. They also bring in VR experiences. So kids get the feeling of actually working with their hands in a virtual environment. They also get interested because, from a gamification standpoint, because all kids like playing with games, Xbox, and other devices. So it gets them interested and it keeps their attention. So I'm a big believer of VR, and I think that can help get kids interested in the trades.
Dave, can I just add to that really quick
Yeah.
too? Honestly, if we look at, there's a program out there. It's called Be Pro, Be Proud, and it's an absolutely fabulous movement going to schools across America. It's really strong in Arkansas right now. They're getting buy-in from Tennessee and all these other states that are actually supporting these kind of vehicles. And what they do is they build out a semi with the pop outs on the side, just like a camper. And they do have all these VR experiences throughout it. You can weld, you can operate a backhoe, you can drive a dump truck, you can drive a semi, You can drive a train. You can fix a transmission, and it's all within the circumference of a trailer that's just a semi trailer. Be Pro, Be Proud is definitely using that innovative technology to inspire from middle school to high school. And I've been working with them for the last 3 years. They're a fabulous program. And if you guys don't know about it, I highly encourage everybody to look up Be Pro, Be Proud. Get them to come to your state. I believe in when we were talking earlier on being innovative, this is such an innovative idea that, governments within states are literally supporting the program, helping to grow the program. But certainly it's 100% VR, and it is about inspiration and showing them the career path. And then afterwards, after they go through this trailer, they have this little mini career fair of all of the little stations that they had in the trailer, and they can talk directly with the people who can help them with the internships and the opportunities to be able to work with them. So VR does work very well in that environment, and Be Pro, Be Proud.
Yeah, what a great way to make a career fair more exciting too, right? They
Yeah.
can actually get that experience. I was thinking this morning that like the toys that I had when I was a kid, like I took them apart all the time, and there aren't really a lot of those toys that you can take apart anymore, right? They're all plastic welded together instead of screws, or there are special screws that you can't get out and things. And this is a way for kids to still be able to kind of do that stuff.
And in
Um,
a safe environment.
yeah,
Hmm.
very cool.
The American Welding Society has a trailer that they take around the entire country where they have 4 or 5 or 6 Lincoln virtual welding machines. And I got to go on this trailer, and the kids lit up. They were teaching them sort of how to weld. Even I did it, and I got an 80 out of 100 for the first time. So maybe I'm in the wrong path. I should have been a welder, but it really shows kids that what's possible working with your hands. So these are all great examples of it.
Yeah, I love that. My mind is now spinning on the trailer idea, and getting those around the country for kids to see,
The
getting them
other
to.
positive about the VR too is that you get to practice all of these things, and the consumption rate is less. And then when you actually go into the shop, you actually utilize less welding rod, even less
Sure.
time to learn. So, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
you build up a little bit of muscle memory before
Yep.
you're in there trying it, right? Very cool. And so switching from virtual to hands-on, what are some successful examples of apprenticeship programs that combine that hands-on experience with the classroom learning? Cindy, you related earlier. A lot of times, and again, I'll speak from the automotive side. When somebody comes into the dealership from a tech school, you'll hear the techs say, like, "Oh, this person doesn't know how to put a car in a lift," or whatever. That's not the whole point of go. You don't go to the tech school and come out a master technician, right? And so how are we melding those apprenticeship and hands-on experience with the classroom learning?
Yeah, so Dubusky High School in Dallas, Texas is absolutely fabulous in their high school. It's one of the poorest demographics in the state of Texas. And I have to tell you, this teacher down there is doing an absolutely fabulous job. I believe that when you start young and then you come into whether it's a tech school or you go into a dealership level, it just helps you to prepare, right? We live in an environment where they don't necessarily come out of the home working with dad and getting that experience.
Mhm.
So the importance of internships and being able to really work with that student is imperative. It helps the student be able to know the culture of that dealership. It helps them to grow and to also realize that it's okay to start at the beginning. We climb a mountain from the bottom up. We don't start from the top down. That's called a slide. So We need to remember that working is a learning process, and whether you've gone to a tech school or you've come out of a really remarkable high school program, that to learn from the best, and to seek them out, seek out and interview them and see what kind of program they have to be able to get into it and learn from the best. um, Internships are absolutely a wonderful thing, and also a way to inspire more students to get into the trades, no matter what it is. Whether you're working for Habitat for Humanity and learning how to build houses, or working with a plumber in your local community to be able to just see what it's like. Do you like it? You might get in there and not like it. And then you may want to change and go automotive or diesel or collision or something to that regard. But yeah, so I'm sure you guys all know it's just a very powerful tool, and industry is beginning to realize that that investment is worth being able to explore and implement into their programs, and they're seeing less attrition because of it.
Yeah. Andrew?
Apprenticeships, earn while you learn, which is a great thing. And I'm thinking about. I have a lot of examples, but I was thinking about a company in Colorado, a plumbing company, and they have a comprehensive apprenticeship program in plumbing, HVAC, and electrical trades. Now, this is not cheap to do,
Yeah.
but it's typically about 2 or 3 years, and it leads to residential licenses for apprentices. So they come in. They're not, obviously they've had a little bit of hands-on work, but they're learning right away, and they're learning HVAC. They're learning diagnostics and repair. They're learning plumbing, drain cleaning, and plumbing system knowledge base, plumbing systems as well, electrical. This is from a company standpoint. This is great from a retention standpoint, because you put the investment into the individual, the young individual, they're likely to stay with the organization. So some companies are doing this, but not all. It is a secret sauce, because that's what keeps people in the trades, or people working for your organization, keeps them happy, because they're constantly learning and you're investing in them. So I'm a big believer of apprenticeship programs, which really can help individuals learn the skill and also earn at the same time.
Yeah, it's excellent. I personally came out of Ford's asset program. Turned out I wasn't a good tech, but that wasn't because of Ford's asset program. That was my brain not working well with actually fixing cars. But it was a great program with that provided you that hands-on education, as well as the apprenticeship part of it, because every 9 weeks you rotated from school into the dealership that you were sponsored by, through a 2-year program. So it was a beneficial program that I wish more of those existed.
And I would just add to that you just hit a very key point. We talk about the value of them, but this is where we always talk about the education of the tech, right? We
Mhm.
also we need to have more conversations about the business profile of the dealerships, or no matter what, the plumbing, the electrical, and help them to understand the importance of having um, an internship program. And
Right.
let's face it, all of the trades have a fire on their tail, right?
Mhm.
They're shorthanded. It's hard to find skilled laborers, technicians, whatever it may be. And because of that, they don't see the value of the internship, because they have a production line that's waiting for them.
Right.
So it's kind of a two-edged sword.
Mhm.
We love them. They're great ideas. But on a business side, because of the impact that they're having right now, it's really hard for them to take the time to develop, train, and implement a whole different program, other than, building or fixing or whatever that they've got going on. So they really have a dilemma on their side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that is part of the problem, right? Is that It's kind of that the old adage though, if you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over, right? And if we don't take the time to start training these young people coming into our business instead of just throwing them in, then at some point, the point we're at now, we get to the point where we're just constantly shorthanded and trying to get more people in. So my next question, I think we covered a bunch of this with the trailers that we talked about, but how can gamification be used to make learning trade skills more engaging and effective for young people? And I think the trailers that you both just talked about is a huge example of that.
I think it's a primary example. Anything that you can do to get a student, a young child interested in this environment, the earlier they're going to know about the careers. So, I mean, it really is something that, we've kind of covered, but ultimately, I think it does help in this environment where everybody's on their phones or whether they're on Nintendo or whatever that may be. But yeah, it helps to build interest, helps them to understand maybe. Yeah.
Andrew, your thoughts?
So I was speaking at a vocational technical school a handful of months ago, and before I went there, I said to myself, how do I engage those kids? And I thought to myself, why
Mhm.
don't I talk to my own kids and ask, how do I engage those kids? So I asked my kids, what do I talk about? What do I say? Because in that first 5 or 10 seconds, you have to be engaging. And my son goes, who's now 11, you got to talk about cell phones. You got to talk about Xbox. You got to talk about Fortnite. I'm like, you sure? He said, yeah. So I got up in front of those kids the next day and I said, how many kids play Xbox? How many kids play Roblox and Fortnite? And they all started laughing because they didn't think I was going to mention that. And then I made the analogy that if your Wi-Fi went out and all the people in the skilled trades disappeared, you wouldn't be able to get on your games and servers. And it got their attention about through games. That was one way to connect with them. But I'm a big believer overall about gamification because you can bring that into a lot of the technology that is in the trades today. When I'm thinking about cobot welding, where you run basically the machines almost on an iPad. I mean, that kids are on iPads all day long. It gets them interested that it's not just, yes, it's hands-on work and you have to know it, but you can also run it from the technology standpoint. So the gamification,
Mm-hmm.
it's starting to really start to spill over into the trades and can get kids interested.
Excellent.
And honestly, too, when you look at some of the technology that has come into the industry, when you look at precision ag is literally running a skid steer from your phone. And so being able to have some of these opportunities, I mean, it's literally operating a road grader. So precision ag is probably the best example of taking gamification over to actual application within the environment of where technology is taking these kids. It's no longer just a tech, right? They're going to have to understand how to use all this technology. So much has gone into diagnostics that you almost need to learn the gamification in order to come into the industry. And that's not easy stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a very powerful tool.
Awesome. All right, and now we move into segment three, which is advantages of pursuing a career in the skilled trades. This segment is brought to you by Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated, family owned and operated claims management service based out of Denver, Colorado. They currently process more than 100 million in warranty per month. As we think about the trades, what are some of the lesser known benefits of working in skilled trades that young people might not even be aware of? Andrew?
They can't be outsourced. You have high job security. Even in a downturn, there's still work to be done in your house. People are not doing maybe large projects, but there's always a plumbing issue. There's always an HVAC issue. There's something going on in your house. So there's always work to be done. So you never not have work. I don't think everybody realizes that I don't want to say it's fully recession proof, but there is a need. Infrastructure needs to be built, bridges, tunnels, roads, schools. They were essential during COVID. And so
Mhm.
your skills won't be shipped overseas. AI is not going to take over uh, the trades anytime soon. And I preach this kind of all the time. So job security
Right.
is a big piece there. Also, there's no when you look at obviously a college path versus a trades path. Today with schools, it could cost you up to six figures to go to school. And a lot of kids are coming out confused. A lot of kids are not getting the opportunities that they once did years ago. I'm a byproduct of college. I came out more confused out of school than I was in school. And my path maybe would have been different. But if you go the trades path, the investment into a trade school, you're making money right away. You're getting into an apprenticeship, you're earning and you're learning versus the person who's coming out of college who has all this debt behind them. So you're sort of ahead of the game. So if you look at a graph of a college path versus a trades path, you could see that the earning level over the handful of years, because you don't have all that debt following you, you tend to earn more. But there's all the stigmas out there. I was playing the game of life with my kids, and there were two paths: the college path or a career path. And it says
Yeah.
that in bold, it says if you take in the instructions, if you take a college career path, you're more likely to make more money. And it's kind of like,
Yep.
I don't know if that's 100% true, because I know a lot of successful people in the trades who have the biggest house on the block who would speak otherwise. So we need to change those stigmas. We need to change those old adages out there. But there's tremendous opportunities in the trades for somebody who wants to get in the next handful of years. It's a great opportunity.
I agree with Andrew. The trades are, I agree with him, they're not recession proof, but they're close, right? We always have the basic needs. When we talk about school counselors and what they're up against these days, I think that they've gotten away from that academia side and they're dealing with more social issues. So the conversations around careers have decreased exponentially. When you look at the two groups, whether it's academia or a trade school, one is taking them in a completely separate path. There's kids I know that have taken marine biology in Wyoming, and I don't know how you're going to apply that if you stay here, right? And statistics prove that if a student goes to school in their home state or wherever, that basically they stay in state. So colleges are having a tough time. And listen, there's no requirement for the colleges to show placement. There's no accountability there. So that's a big deal. For
Mhm.
your trade schools, on the other hand, they have to prove an 80% placement of their students. So that's a big deal. I really like what Andrew said when he said you earn or you learn and you earn at the same time. Now, that's in an apprenticeship environment. In a trade school side, you can learn that trade and literally be back out on the ground earning money. And I've got to tell you, the levels that these students are coming out into the industry making literally pole vaults them over the top of those that are going for that 2 year, 4 year, 6 year degree. I'm not saying that those are bad. This world needs all of us, right? And it takes the academia and it takes the trades. So this is no disregard to those that go on to higher education. The trades themselves literally, I mean, I've seen it time and time again with these students getting out there, earning right away, and it's amazing where they end up. You guys, it's amazing to see them end up in management and CEO positions, and
Mhm.
it's amazing at how quick. So the viable opportunities in the trades are wonderful. It definitely gets these kids started, and I call everybody a kid. Not everybody's my baby, right? But these young men and women are really changing their lives. And let's face it, COVID did a lot of things, right? COVID also helped these young students recognize that they didn't have to, I mean, they were learning online, right? And they realized really quick that not being in the classroom and not spending, and they were paying those big dollars to be at home and learn and not get the education that they needed. So they've also realized that not digressing, but actually moving into the trades, learning something that they can be passionate about, and making that their life career has really changed the way of thinking. And because of COVID, I know we grew exponentially, and and the students applied that themselves and are looking for that quality of life.
I think one of the things that COVID showed people was, look, during COVID, I was in automotive. I was considered an essential worker. I didn't lose my job or my income, right? And there are a lot of people in the trades that did not, when other people ended up having tough times in careers that were not considered essential. And I think that was a real wake up call for a lot of people.
I
Um,
agree.
Cindy, you just mentioned people progressing up through from where they started. And so, how do career advancement opportunities in trades compare to those in traditional, what we'll call them, white collar professions?
Well, part of that is because of the shortage as well, right? What I see happening with, from going as a student to a graduate to going into their careers, they are progressing very quickly. My boys, for example, they started drilling oil and didn't go on to any other education. They went right on the rig, right? What you have to prove is grit. You got to prove that you're going to show up for the job. You're going to show that you're going to give more than that dollar that you earn, and you're really ready to push it and give your all to the career. I believe when people do that, management recognizes that and they want those kind in their team. And so they, especially in the trades, they are promoted very quickly when you have those basic skills. And that's internal, right? That is,
Mhm.
understanding the importance of really giving your all at the end of the day, having those soft skills that really resonate well with upper management. So getting in there, working hard, and showing what you're made of is going to make a difference throughout your entire career. um, yeah, so it's pretty remarkable when you finally find that employee that's going to show up, that's clean and ready for their professional day, and give as much as they can give. They progress very quickly. You can see it in our graduates. You can see the Jesse Combs, the Mikey Browns, the just so many of them. I mean, I can name a bunch, but and they have gone on to excel. And it's not just within that company. They are now entrepreneurs. They are building cars for Hot Wheel, episodes. If you don't put a ceiling on your head and you say the sky's the limit, you're gonna go for it. You will do great.
What you put in is what you get out. And that could be said for a lot of things. But in the trades, if you want to climb the ladder of success, the opportunity is now, and especially over the next handful of years. And just to share some statistics, that we need 330,000 welders by 2028. 155,000 of them are retiring over the next 5 or 10 years. There's tremendous opportunities to be a welder. I mean, every company is asking, "Wow, where I need to find welders. I need to find welders." Like, there's a tremendous opportunity there.
Mhm.
Electricians, we need 80,000 electricians every single year up to 2030 just to replace electricians that are leaving. For every 5 that leave, 2 come in. Everything is from EVs to appliances, the grid, whatever if you think anything electrical, there's so much opportunity there to make good money. We need 550,000 plumbers, 550,000 plumbers by 2030. You can make $100 to $200 an hour. That's where I feel that it's going in the next couple years. The opportunity is there, but it depends
Mhm.
what you want to put in. It really depends. And that goes back to even mentorship, what we talked about earlier about aligning yourself with somebody to get those skill sets quicker, that you can be um, you can have that ability to maybe even go and start your own business one day or be entrepreneurial, because you could take that skill set. There's a lot of people here in my neighborhood who are always looking for a great plumber, an electrician. And as if you have the skill set, if you have customer service, you get back to people, you treat people right, you could do extremely well. I always say it's endless opportunities, and you're uncapped. You're only uncapped by your ability, your how driven you are. And if you want it, go get it, because the
Mhm.
opportunity's there in the trades.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I've people have heard me tell this story a bunch, but I worked at a dealership group that had 6 dealerships in it, and it was owned by somebody who was a technician at one of those dealerships at one time. So he started as a technician in that dealership in one of the dealerships and ended up buying the whole group. So it's it's endless opportunities, as you said. Uh, Last question: what ways can careers in skilled trades contribute to job satisfaction and work life balance?
I never met a tradesperson who didn't brag about what they built. I built that bridge, I built that tunnel. uh, you know, Look what I built. I
Yeah.
mean, their faces light up. I mean, that's job satisfaction right there. Not everybody can say that. There's a sense of fulfillment.
Yep.
There's a sense of that you've accomplished something, you've fixed something, the power is out, and you turn someone's power back on, or it's 20 degrees out and the heat doesn't work in someone's house, and you turn it back on. You feel like a superhero. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but you do feel like a superhero, and you get a smile on your face that you've helped somebody through that. So the job satisfaction is there, and the work life balance. I mean, look, totally understand. You're going to work hard. The trades, they're not easy. They're not. Not every field is easy. You're going to have to put the time, energy, resources into it, but you can be extremely successful. But if you build your business up and you're entrepreneurial, you can put yourself, in um, more of uh, in a CEO role or more of an executive role, and you can have people under you doing the work, but you've worked your way up towards that. But you need to walk on those shoes before you can
Yeah.
actually get into that role. So the work-life balance in the trades, obviously, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. There is a commitment there, but you got to put the time and effort uh, in the beginning stages, because you want to get that sort of that end result. You want to be a business owner one day. You got to put the hard work into it. But overall, I never really met an unhappy tradesperson who didn't brag about what they built.
Cindy?
I would agree with them. Being able to brag what you build is a very powerful thing. But those that are going into the trades, I believe, they've tested the waters. They're very passionate about the direction that they're going. And of course, being able to see what your hands can produce is a very wonderful and gratifying thing. But they're passionate about their job. So that job satisfaction just kind of raises to the top. The other thing that I think in the trades that you see is that as you work in one area, you kind of gravitate and you learn all of these other ones. So it's always growing. And I think that this young generation really likes that change, that ability to be able to grow within their career and what they're doing. Let's face it, the work life balance in this generation, I think they get it. I always hear people kind of complain about this new generation, and I think there's a lesson to be learned from them. In my generation, it was how many hours can you work? And you're probably going to work right through the weekend. And then you look back and you say, gosh, I didn't go on very many vacations. This generation is saying, listen, I want to give you my all, but at the end of the day, I also want to go home to my family. I have, I bike, I hike, I hunt, And this is important to them. They have decided that, work is a tool, and it, blesses all of our lives, but they also want to have a life. And so I find that to be very interesting as I watch this group. And I hear everybody say that the kids these days don't want to work. Well, I don't agree with that, because when I see the volume of students coming into Wyotech, I've got 12, almost 1,200 of them at the school that cannot wait to get out there and go to work for the dealerships. So, we need to recruit, we need to educate, get them into the system of the trades. But that work life balance is important to this generation. And again, I think there's a lot to be learned from that ourselves.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's a lot of hours to be worked in, no matter what career path you choose, right?
Mhm.
The doctors go on their rotations before their doctors, where they're working 24 and 36 hours in a row, right? And
Mhm.
the trades are never going to ask you to do that. But work life balance is, I think, kind of a misnomer a little bit too, though, right? You have times when you're going to be more on the side of working, and you're going to have times where you're going to be more on the side of life, and it's about and over. It's that doesn't mean that it's 3.5 days every week where you work and where you have life, right? There's times where you'll have extra work, and there's times where you'll have more free time.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. But the thing too, I think in the trades is that opportunity to work as much as you want. If you're at
yeah,
that point of your life that, and they're willing to get in there and pay that overtime because they have the work that's there that needs to be done.
yeah,
So for that real go getter, and there's plenty of them, when they see that opportunity to move their life forward and to be able to really to buy that home, to buy that car, whatever it may be, that opportunity is there. So yeah, I think it's really great that not only can they work in a 7 to 5 or 7 to 4 job, they can also take on a whole lot more, and just really grow their life forward quicker, in my opinion.
yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been an exciting and really quick hour with you two. Cindy Barlow, Director of Industry Relations at Wyotech, and Andrew Brown, CEO and founder of ToolFetch. Thank you so much for joining us on the Fixed Ops Mastermind today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.